Let's have let's kneel here and have a prayer before I begin. Most loving and kind Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for being here where two or three are gathered together. And your Son said that he would be here in the midst of us. And we ask you to give me the words to speak and to let them be your words and not my own. And also, if there's anyone here that needs special help, may we help them. And if anyone has not given their heart to you, may they give their heart to you today before it's too late. And want to thank you so much for your watch care over us and leading us through this camp meeting. And also when we leave, give us safe journeys home. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay. My previous talks were in regard to, the COVID-19, and also last year I did the lectures on the lessons learned from the 1918 pandemic. And then I was noting that there's like a lack of sanitariums like there were in the 1918 pandemic. But we can learn the same things that they did in the sanitariums in 1918 and have even private home therapy like they did in the sanitariums. And also, once we learn those things, we can also go and do evangelism. And I'm entitling this Natural Remedies Evangelism. Okay? And first of all, I want to set out, what did Christ do in order to reach the people? It says Christ's method alone will give true success in reaching the people. The Savior mingled with men, and I just put in there, added that as mankind, which means male and female. As one who desired their good, he showed his sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, and won their confidence. He then bade them follow me. Now, most of us have read this quote. The enemy of souls has sought to bring in the supposition that a great reformation was to take place among Seventh-day Adventists, and that this reformation would consist in giving up the doctrines which stand as the pillars of our faith and engaging in a process of reorganization. Were this to take place, what would be the result? The principles of truth that God in His wisdom has given to the remnant church would be discarded. Our religion would be changed. The fundamental principles that have sustained the work for the last 50 years would be counted as error. A new organization would be established. Books of a new order would be written. A system of intellectual philosophy would be introduced. The founders of this system would go into the cities and do a wonderful work. The Sabbath, of course, would be lightly regarded as also the God who created it. Nothing would stand in the way of the new movement. But God being removed, they would place their dependence on human power, which without God is worthless. Their foundation would be built on the sand, and storm and tempest would sway away the structure. My question is, what about us that have not removed the only true God and who truly keep the Sabbath holy? We can point the finger toward others, but what have we been doing who have not removed the only true God and who truly keep the Sabbath holy? Have we gone into the cities and done a wonderful work with the true God at our side and keeping the Sabbath holy? One of the things that I propose is that we can set up a 8-station natural remedies health fair. Find out what is, and then when these persons that come to this health fair, find out what is happening in their life of the individual right now. Meet them where they're at. Maybe they are depressed. Send them to the Trust in God booth. We need people that know how to deal with people that are depressed, and sometimes it's a spiritual problem that they're dealing with. And we can help them. Maybe they are addicted to a substance. Send them to the temperance booth. Maybe they're a smoker. Send them to the pure air and temperance booths, both of them. Maybe they are deconditioned and need to get on an exercise program. Send them to the exercise booth. Maybe they are not sleeping well. Send them to the rest booth. Maybe they have a poor diet and want to lose weight. I didn't put the T on there, sorry. Send them to the nutrition booth. We had a nutrition booth here. We're already starting this natural remedies evangelism. Maybe they are suffering from a medical condition where they need hydrotherapy. Send them to the water booth. We need trained experts that are natural remedy experts in these different areas to know how to help these people and meet them where they're at. We need to meet them where they're at. We need to use Christ's method. And I also propose that we ought to maybe have a CAP meeting devoted to training people how to do natural remedies evangelism. Why should we delay to begin the work in the cities? We are not to wait for some wonderful thing to be done or some costly apparatus to be provided in order that a great display may be made. What is the shaft to the wheat? If we walk and work humbly before God, He will prepare the way before us. He will honor those who honor Him. MTC is Ministry to the Cities. There's a new compilation. Why delay the endeavor to make the world better? However humble our sphere, however lowly our work, if we walk in harmony with our Savior, He will reveal Himself through us, and our influence will draw souls to Him. And then the references at the bottom there. Mission work should be done in our large cities. There is a special talent among us for this line of labor, and this talent should be educated and trained. And some people may not know that they have this talent, but if they have some of this talent, they can be educated and trained. The ministers who hover over the churches are accomplishing little good for church members unless they encourage and teach the people to do practical missionary work. Every minister should now feel that there is a greater work for him or to do than to repeat again and again the same sermons to the people. I have been instructed to refer our people to the 58th chapter of Isaiah. Read this chapter carefully and understand the kind of ministry that will bring life into the churches. The work of the gospel is to be carried by means of our liberality as well as by our labors. When you meet suffering souls who need help, give it to them. When you find those who are hungry, feed them. In doing this, you will be working in lines of Christ's ministry. There is a need of coming close to the people by personal effort. If less time were given to sermonizing and more time were spent in personal ministry, greater results would be seen. The poor are to be relieved, the sick cared for, the sorrowing and the bereaved comforted, the ignorant instructed, the inexperienced counseled. We are to weep with those that weep and rejoice with those that rejoice, accompanied by the power of persuasion, the power of prayer, the power of the love of God. This work cannot be without fruit. How do we get the means to work the cities? As we do this work, we shall find that means will flow into our treasuries, and we shall have means with which to carry on a still broader and more far-reaching work. Shall we not advance in faith, just as if we had thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars, I guess. I put $4. We do not have half faith enough. Let us act our part in warning the cities. The cities are to be worked from outposts. Said the messenger of God, shall not the cities be warned? Yes, not by God's people living in them, but by their visiting them to warn them of what is coming upon the earth. And this is Country Living, the CL. As God's commandment-keeping people, we must leave the cities. As did Enoch, we must work in the cities, but not dwell in them. So, I mean, this is a short session, but I want to open it up for any people to come up here and give their thoughts, if they have them, that I maybe not have included in here, as to how to do natural remedies evangelism. Do we have anybody that will come up here and tell us any more information of how to do this? Come on. This is Daniel Mesa. Here we go.
Yeah. One of the things my wife is very able to do is to cook. She's a magician in the kitchen, and I'm so blessed to be married to somebody like that. And so some of you ladies really have a lot of skills. And one of the things my wife has done, but also has encouraged me to do when my wife is not there, is we'll just make smoothies or use some of that really good ice cream. Like real quick, I'll just tell.
Oh, sure.
If you have a, what is that thing? Vitamix. And you take 2 cups of walnuts, fill it almost to the top with maple syrup, blend that together, and then throw in like a banana, whether ripe or frozen, and then a bunch of frozen fruit in with it to blend that all up. You get an ice cream that is just amazing. So what you do is you take that over to the neighbors and say, hey, you want to join us for some ice cream? It's really good, just natural ice cream. They're like, yeah. So you have this opportunity to just share with your neighbors over about an hour and a half, whatever, and you can talk and everything. And that's a real good way to share natural remedies of health and healing as you're talking with them in various ways. That's like an open door opportunity. So
Amen.
Yeah, so
Amen.
Anybody wants some ice cream? Let's do it.
Some people have also baked bread,
Right.
natural bread, and taken it out. Do we have any more people to give us some more information on how to do this? Natural remedies, evangelism?
Okay, so
Thank you.
Isaac,
Coming up.
in our ministry in Brazil, Restaura, one thing that has really worked well is when you help one person, they're going to tell people. We have a few friends that are Baptist pastors, and her wife, the man's wife, wasn't able to really walk very much. And we have, fortunately, we have a sanitarium. So if you don't have a sanitarium, it's not, you can still do some things, but you can educate them too so they can do their own things. But we did hot and cold treatments with her and helped her with her diet and different things like that. And now she's walking. We also helped point them to people who also did chiropractic. And we helped her connect with another friend that's a psychologist because she had some serious depression. But these Baptist pastors have brought multiple Baptist pastors to us to be counseled. And so at our farm there, they just come over. They let us know they're coming. They come over. We sit down. I literally open Jethro Kloss's Back to Eden, right? Because I can't store it all up here. But God has given us great literature in this movement. Mm-hmm. And so I open the book. We find out first we always ask them, what are they doing, right? So we look at what their diet is, how are they living? And then once we see that, we can see the holes that are in the tire, right? And we help them to patch the holes that are in the tire so that health can come. So really just starting is the most important part. But once you start and you help someone, I promise you that once they see the benefit, they're going to share that with other people. And soon enough, you won't even have to go out and find people. The people you help will bring people. That's what's happened for us.
Tell about the New Year's thing.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
you can tell. How about that?
I just wanted to mention briefly that also just inviting people over, like he had said, he was saying making ice cream, inviting the neighbors. Like we decided to do a New Year's thing. Some of our friends wanted to because we don't celebrate New Year's, but our friends are like, can we come over for New Year's? We're like, sure. And so then, in Brazil. And then a bunch of other people wanted to come over, and the original ones that it was their idea, they didn't come. But the people that did come, like they were all, except for one, non-Adventist. And so we had vegan pizza, and we really enjoyed a good time. And one of the people had brought beer and some other stuff, and I said, no, you can't have that here. And so it was really a great witness. And then those people came back multiple times this time that we were there, and they didn't bring beer, and they just enjoyed the time. And it was wonderful because, I don't know what kind of lifestyle they live, but they could have a good time without those substances that they were used to, and just enjoy being out in nature and stuff. And so it's that's part of health as well.
Tell them everyone had to do a praise for the year.
Yeah, and so we went around the table and everybody praised God for blessings that they had throughout the year. And it was really a great experience, and we prayed together several times, and they stayed a couple days there. And so there are multiple ways when we mingle with the people and bring them to our home, because I think it's important not only that we go to meet them, but that we bring them to our environment, because there's a different spirit there, and they can sense that, and they can learn without us teaching, really. It's by our example. And so that's another way that's really something everybody can do.
So do we have any other ideas that we can bring to this on how to do natural remedies evangelism? Come on up. Come on up. You can't hear. They can't hear on the internet.
Well, I have more of a question.
Oh, you have a question.
Yeah, it's more of a question. The thing is, you can have not you, but in general, as us Christians, we can have a great knowledge of the medical missionary work and the health stuff. But speaking as of like myself, I have a sugar addiction, and I cannot give the health message because it would seem very hypocritical. And then there's other people in the city Adventist churches who are somewhat like me, oversized, overweight. It seems like some of the work needs to be done at home first. Do we have anything on how to break a sugar addiction so that I can get myself together so that I can present the message? There's a lot of this stuff that I know, but where's my wife at? I'm a like pint a day ice cream eater, and there's times where I sneak off and going to get gas and going to get something, but I stop and I get the ice cream, and if I don't eat it, I get real bad headaches, and it's like I have to go and get some. And so this is, I'm a recovered alcoholic, and haven't drank for years, but when I stopped drinking in 2005, 2006, I switched it over, and I just started eating ice cream. and it seemed to fill in where the alcohol used to hit at. And so I've been an Adventist now 20 years, and like I'm really hard on myself because I seem like I should be so much further. And so when I found out about this today, I struggled to come because of my size. And that's the problem with being overweight. You don't want other people to see you in that condition. And so I wasn't going to come. And then I talked to my wife and we went back and forth.
We're glad you came.
Now, I need to repeat what you said.
Well, he's sitting next to a recovered addict. He's sitting next to a recovered addict.
Go up there.
Oh, do we need to repeat what he said, or?
Okay,
You will- she will.
brief summary while you're.
It's a brief
Okay,
summary.
sure, here we go.
So-
Question he asked.
You had, it's ice cream for you. I loved ice cream, but it was caramel popcorn. Caramel popcorn. The service, it says serve 6. And I would do it. I might give the little baby a little bit, and then I would eat. I mean, you don't understand a sugar addiction until you've been there yourself. So I would have it for breakfast. My husband would go to work, and he says, "What you had for breakfast?" I said, "Something warm." Because it was warm caramel popcorn. So I asked him, I turned to human for help. And I said, "Donovan, I need you to help me with this because I'm really having a problem. I will cut my dinner short so that I can eat that popcorn. It's the caramel, right?" So I asked my husband to help me. We go to Stater Brothers in California. We go to the supermarket, and he's with me. And I'm loading the cart with caramel popcorn. The man is beside me, and he's not helping me. I'm like, what kind of help is this? We go up to the cashier. He paid for the thing. I'm like, what is this? But anyway, I took home the caramel popcorn. Somebody talk about the cigarette, don't keep it in your house. I want to stop eating this thing, but I'm taking it home. Okay, the next morning, I got up for breakfast. After my husband left for work, I can't find the caramel popcorn. I started searching. I didn't understand how frantic I was. At that time, I had bad rheumatoid arthritis, right? The cupboard is high. If I want anything up there, I have to wait till my husband comes home. All right, my son. And I'm flipping through things. You have watched pictures and seen alcoholics. And I'm flipping through the cupboard. I'm like, where are my popcorns? Where are my popcorns? When I found myself with one leg on top of the fridge and the other hand reaching up, the thought came to me, Faye, you have a problem. And I slowly came down. And I turned to somebody who can help me. And I know it's only God who could deliver me from this. It's not just a physical problem, it's a spiritual problem I had. It's trying to fill a hole, trying to fill a void. I just stand here right now. We'll talk some more after because time is going. But I want you to know that God can deliver. I had to, the Lord, showed me why do I need to get over this addiction? One, I had a young child. I want to see my child graduate. I want to set a good example. Yes, I'm there and I talk Bible and I'm doing all of that, but I cannot afford for Satan to have a hook in. He had a hook in my life. I was making myself sick. Talking about overweight, I wouldn't even go there because I was like 250-something pounds as a female, size 22. But I'm standing here to let you know that God can deliver. He can deliver. And you know what? Did I start encourage people? I'm going to wait until I'm perfect and over the sugar. I'm not telling you I don't eat a little sweet thing every now and again. I'm not saying that. But if we're going to wait until I'm perfect before I start witnessing, it's not going to happen. And that's one way the devil try to keep us trapped. Yeah. You understand? Brother, you have a sweet, I have it too. And God is helping me. He can help you. Let's do this together. And it challenges me. Instead of hiding, it challenges me. Do you know what it was like to have worldly children and see other people? Faye, how can you be talking to people about their kids and helping them when your kids are like, I'm like, behind me, Satan. Get behind me. I said, God, you take care of my kids while you use me to take care of your others. He will use our weaknesses to try to trap us. Don't let him do it. God will give us the victory. Another thing I read, if we can overcome appetite, we can overcome just about any other sin in our life. And we are at the point, this is not playtime now, this is serious business now in terms of preparation for translation. Amen. But I want to say, brother, that God can deliver. And we'll talk off the air.
Well, and also I've seen persons that were overweight and they got on God's original diet and strictly followed that, and the persons commented, "I never ate so much in my life and still lost weight." And if you get on the natural, you get on the diet that was originally for men, the weight will take care of itself.
But I want you to know Brandon is my brother, and no one thinks bad about Brandon here because he's my brother. And just because it takes three of me to make one of him, that's okay, but because he's bigger than me anyhow, even if he isn't overweight or whatever. But Brandon, on a practical side, I want you to hear the message that I gave last night, because part of that deals with what Faye was saying about not making provision. In Romans 13:14, the Bible says, "Make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof." So that meant that maybe Donovan bought the popcorn and took it home, but he must have hid it or got rid of it. Yeah, bless his heart. That sounds like Donovan's way, doesn't it? I mean, Donovan wouldn't be forward doing this. He would just be very quiet in the background doing it. Bless his heart. We love Donovan. If you're listening, I don't know if you're able to be with us by internet, but we love you, Donovan. We're sorry you can't be here. But one thing that's helped me in this area too, Brandon, because I don't know of anyone who doesn't like sweet things. And it's true, there are different kinds of sugars, but fundamentally sugar is sugar to a great degree. And so, even the better sugars we need to use judiciously, of course. But I've found that for me, at least, that if I am eating a diet that has a reasonable amount of fresh fruit in it, I don't tend to crave sweets like I would otherwise. And so when I'm eating those whole grains and vegetables, and especially fruits, I don't seem to have the cravings, for the sugars like I would if I wasn't. And that may be able to be a help. So we have just a few more minutes. Let me see if the files.
Okay. Is there
clarify, when you fill up the Vitamix, you put it all the way to the top with the frozen fruit, because that's not going to make a little bit. That's going to make a lot for the neighborhood. So just so you know.
Do we have any more suggestions on how to do natural remedies evangelism? Come on back up here. Okay, good.
All right, so whether or not you have a health ministry or not, you can go to different churches that are in your area and introduce yourself as a health expert, right? As someone who knows about health. Do you know about health?
Health counselor.
Right? And what you can do is offer presentations for their churches. So you can talk to whoever you need to talk to and get directed to the pastor, whoever organizes the events, and say that you'd love to do a health presentation, and you can explain what your health presentation is about. And that is literally a great way to get inside of the churches and to do presentations in front of people. And of course, as you do that, you want to bring information and your contact information, because after you're done with your presentation, you can then make connections with the people, because you might not be able to cover everything, right? But if someone has a specific problem like diabetes or cancer in the family or high blood pressure, whatever it is, you can let yourself be available to then do one-on-one counseling and then further make that connection. So it's another way. God just hit this with me when we went to Brazil this past time of how we can really get in there. So the church members see you as someone who knows about health, and then they'll be more open to talk with you. So that was just one idea that has had that God gave me that we've used, and it's had success.
Oh, great. Okay. Have any more people that want to share anything? Ideas on doing natural remedies evangelism.
I don't want to talk too much,
But come on back up here, yeah, we still have time. We still have time.
He says, don't talk too much, talk three much. Thank you, Brother Paul. So, with any kind of evangelism that you want to do, one of the first things you need to do is pray for opportunity. It's pray. Just like if you ask God for opportunity to witness, for He will provide the solution. So this started like 2015. But every job that I've ever had, this being in HR, you can't go there talking to people about God and all of that. You can get in trouble. But practically everybody's sick or know somebody was sick. So this is a little edgeway in. People come to the office about different things and you give idea. And God has, every job I've had, given me the opportunity to do, like I do newsletter, health newsletter for the company. And I would email it out with different ideas, natural remedy, and put the disclosure on it. I would, like we send it out every Tuesday. I'd send out HR steps. I got permission from the manager. And we put natural remedies, how to go, things for diabetes, food, how to eat this. And I have people contact me, Faye, why are you so health conscious? This is the other thing too. It puts you, when you start doing stuff like that, it really challenges you to live up to the standard, right? I tell you, every get together we used to have there, they're looking at my plate. So I can't cheat. You have to do it. So it really challenges you when you're witnessing this area.
No caramel.
No caramel. Look here, there was Oreo too and other stuff, but the caramel was a big thing. I mean, it was all out sugar. But I'm just saying, God gives the opportunity. So, if you're still going to an office, take things. No bake cakes, no bake healthy alternatives. So when you take these things in, no bake desserts, they're different things. Take it in, and people ask questions. And for me, it was sending the newsletter out. Since it's not a testimony time, but God miraculously provided the same job I left 2 years ago. They're asking me, to work remote with them. So I've been doing a temporary job with them. And I have people like, Faye, I'm glad you're back. When are I miss your natural remedies. People are longing for alternative. People are longing for that. And people are about to get very sick. You know that. A year or two is going to be. So just about, if you ask God for the opportunity, it could be somebody you meet in the supermarket. They will see your cart. Do you know that? When you're shopping, people looking at your shopping cart. You see what I'm saying? So there are just so many ways. One, and we can't say we wait until we know everything. I'm getting old now. I can't remember everything. So there's a book. If there's one thing that you're specialized in, we need to learn as much as we can or have the resources. But if we do ask God for the opportunity to help somebody, and I find it's really, people have asked me at work, why are you so conscious, health conscious? What is it about it, Faye? And I had to get the opportunity. Well, my body is a temple of the Lord. And then it segues into why I take care of my body. I don't take care of my body because of me. I'm not my own. I'm bought with a price. So it's really the right arm of the gospel. I've had Bible study out of health because of natural remedies. So that's just my little story.
Well, I put this up there. It says that we should read Isaiah chapter 58. And it talks about the health springing forth speedily. So if we follow what the Isaiah 58 says, and if our health isn't optimal, our health is going to spring forth speedily. See, if we follow this and say our health isn't optimal, but we start doing what Isaiah 58 says, then our own health will spring forth speedily. Isn't that what it says? Yeah. So that's also, our health may not be, none of us are in perfect health. We all have some deficiency because of sin. We're not like, our health even isn't to the level it was for the people that lived before the flood. We're runts compared to them. Our health's not optimal. We don't live as long as they did. But if we do what the Lord wants us to do and our health's not there, our health can spring forth speedily if we follow Isaiah 58. Right? Right. So is anyone else? I guess we still don't have the
We're trying. There's a link, but
through.
it's saying there's an error, so.
Oh, there's an
just
error.
Give us a couple minutes here.
Okay.
Can I just make a correction?
Sure, come on in.
No,
Come
no,
on
I
back.
said 252 was my weight. It was 232.
Oh, well,
And then I
still,
lost 50
yeah,
pounds.
still, okay.
Not 252.
But also some people go with what is the BMI too. You know.
I do a lot of juicing. Oops, I fixed that. I do a lot of juicing. Whole Foods, put it through the juicer and drink it, for breakfast. Eat lots of salads and stuff, and I really enjoy health. I'm outside every single day. I'm exercising and drinking lots of water between the meals, etc. If you're living that lifestyle, you go like I was just a few weeks back. You're sitting across from somebody in an airport praying, like, Lord, how do I witness to somebody? So I reach over and says, hey, man, where you going? He says, oh, I'm visiting my brother. He's really sick with COVID. It's like at the point of death. I'm kind of worried about him. I said, yeah, tell me about that. So he started telling me about it. I said, he says, I don't even know how we're going to pay this bill. I said, I'm a Christian. Are you a Christian? He says, yeah, I'm a believer. I said, I'll tell you what, what the Bible teaches, and I started giving him some natural remedies, told him that probably one of the things he could really use is sunshine, because that works for this stuff, don't you? And I said, how much water is he able to drink? I mean, are you able to get him whole foods and the things that God has given us naturally? And he's like, man, yeah, I really want to try these things. And I gave him my website and told him to contact me. He hasn't, but at least I was able to share with him for a good 15 or 20 minutes. And that same day, I was in another, I think it was that flight, I was sitting next to this lady, and again, I'm praying like, Lord, how do I witness to this lady? So I reach over and say, hey, how you doing? Where are you going? And she says, oh, I'm just coming back from being with my aunt. She was sick with COVID, and her sister had died or something like that, and she was over there, and she's the age she could see on her, etc. So I gave her the full gamut of New Start. I just told her about nutrition and exercise and water and sunshine, and really gave her a lot of information. She was able to ask questions. We talked back and forth. I gave her my website and was, encouraging her about her faith and, reading the Bible and everything. So it was really good. And if you just live this stuff and the basics, just sit down next to somebody and ask them, like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? And that's a really good way to plant those seeds. And this stuff happens all the time because I'm always praying for God to open up the opportunity for me to share. I love to share God's word. So I hope that's an encouragement.
Good, great, thank you.
We're ready to try to start.